Cinema Classics is sponsored by WCBE 90.5 FM, Columbus, Ohio, and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I am Jordan Hanalami.
And this is Cinema Classics. And we want to wish Johnny well.
Yes, always on our minds and hearts.
Yeah, and Jordan is here substituting for Johnny.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about the NBA.
Jeez, yes.
How about it?
You know, Adam Sandler truly loves basketball.
He really does.
I mean,
Big fan.
He is a big fan.
It's pretty well known, all his movie sets and things, there's always basketball courts and basketball playing going on, and yeah, he is a big fan, including wearing basketball shorts to the premiere of the movie. God forbid he gets dressed up.
The movie is Hustle.
Yes.
And it's currently on Netflix.
Currently #1 on Netflix.
Is it?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
Throughout the week, so we are on the hot topic.
So he has about 10 films that Netflix has sponsored, right?
Okay, is it that many? I was thinking about it and meant to look up to see where he's at this point.
Yeah.
It seems
anyway,
about that many that you start in, and then he has the Happy Madison production stuff that he does in addition. Yeah.
So he's
got dollars. He has lots.
He's a very good deal
lots
going
of dollars
for Netflix, and it's Hustle. Set it up for our listeners, George.
So Adam Sandler plays a scout, an NBA scout. Anybody that knows anything about the sports world and professional with scouting, it is not a glamorous position at all. It is for the truest lovers of the sport, whether it be baseball, basketball, football. These are people that travel all over the country, all over the world to scout players and tell the teams if they, are worthwhile or not. So he is playing a scout. For the Philadelphia 76ers, one of the most storied franchises in the NBA, and he's close with the president of the team, the owner of the team, and
played by
the great Robert Duvall.
Yeah, for what, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Come on,
Super
Jordan.
small role, but it was good to see him on screen.
It was.
I mean, I know what you mean. Like, it was like, well, that was it, but it was good to see him, and. Yeah, he's gone and has made some promises that are not then fulfilled by his son. One of my favorite tropes in movies, when the outsider is closer with the father than the son is, the great, powerful father.
It is good. And the bad boy is played by Ben Foster.
Yes, Ben Foster, just the kind of new age young owner of the team. And but yeah, Adam Sandler is put back out on the road after being promised to be home. And finds a young
assistant
stud.
coach. They're promising.
Yeah, it's promising him assistant coachdom, and going to be able to be home and all that stuff. But then, alas, he is put back out on the road. Finds what he believes is a gem in the rough and tumble streets of Spain, and brings the young guy back against the wishes of the owner and. From there.
With the improbable name of Bo Cruz.
Bo Cruz, which is it's made even more delightful by how long his name is, which is one of those fun names that makes me feel, like mine's
Juancho
easy or something.
Hernan Gomez.
Yes, and Juancho is out. He's pretty well known throughout the NBA, an actual NBA player. Not a star, but a guy that plays and has moved around in the league over the last handful of years, and. Some people are excited about seeing him play because in the actual NBA in this movie, because he is so good in this movie, and some people didn't realize how good he could be. So anyway, some fun real life turns with that.
To kind of support what you're saying, first of all, there are only about 600 NBA players. Okay, so it's a rarefied world.
Yep.
You can start out at $900,000, which is a convincer for our construction worker in Spain to come over here.
Playing in work boots and been impressing in the streets of Spain with the work boots.
Yes, and so he brings him over. The problem is the 76ers are not going to support our boy, and they're not going to support it.
Yep, yeah, Adam Sandler has gone against the grain and against the wishes of the new owner, and brought him over and is footing the bill for his Pringle cans and single bite Philly cheesesteaks and all kinds of stuff like that. So
it's just, for me, it's only been, it has really been since Uncut Gems that I've suddenly realized that he is that Adam Sandler is one of our best actors ever.
He's really great when he takes on some of these roles. I think he loves being goofy and silly and stuff like that, but I'm really glad too that he takes these on sometimes. For me, my Michael Jordan is the would be a good comparison. My Michael Jordan of film is Paul Thomas Anderson, and when he was in Punch Drunk Love, it blew me away. I was completely enamored with his performance there, and then there was some break, but then he's had some of these Uncut Gems, Meyerwood Stories, some movies that have really like impressed people. And,
and you look back at Punch Drunk Love. I think a lot of people would say that's his best.
Yeah.
And you're talking years ago.
Yeah, 20 years I think. I think it was 2002.
And if you think back on that story, he plays, he plays an outsider. He's goofy.
Yeah, the only son of, out of quite a few siblings, 6, 7 siblings.
Yeah, and he's trying inventing, he's trying things, and he has a side of him that could use some medication.
Management.
Really, he'd be talking to the little lady, and he'll go in the bathroom, and he'll trash the bathroom.
Yeah. All of a sudden, smashing window panes.
Oh my gosh, George!
Yeah, it's.
And then he'll come out, and he's
totally calm again.
Yeah. He's meek.
Which is playing into his. I mean that it's still a comparison to his what he's most known for is his comedy stuff where he's doing this voice and all of a sudden it's just rage. I mean it's what Happy Gilmore is. It's what Billy Madison is. Like those characters are these. Sweet. I mean, The Water Boy was a huge one where he's like sweet, and then all of a sudden he's slamming linebackers and like all kinds of stuff. And so it's still even his drama stuff can play into those.
Yeah, good
roles
point.
But
and you're reminding me how much I liked Happy Gilmore. As simple as that.
Oh my God, he's great in that movie. Like he is genuinely great in it.
Yeah, I know. And that's when I guess I knew he was going to be good.
Yeah.
It was, but when I saw Uncut Gems, which I think was snubbed by Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was a few years ago, and this is Netflix.
Yep.
He plays a New York jeweler. Yep. And to me, he's playing what Al Pacino would have played. And he very much sounds like and acts like Pacino on steroids.
I was delightfully excited today when I told my mom that I was doing this glorious show with you, that she really liked Uncut Gems. I was like, you saw that movie? And she was like, yeah, I loved it. I was like, really? I just would not have put that. I was very excited. That was awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple the other day who turned it off after half an hour.
Yeah.
And I think if you can't stand the frenetic New Yorkish show that Uncut Gems was about, if anybody's out there listening and said they're curious about him, let me tell you something in the last 3 years that will make you a believer if you watch it.
And some strong NBA tie-ins with that movie as well. With Kevin Garnett being a kind of a central player within that and stuff too. So
and so what's exceptional about this movie, Hustle, George? If you could say, why would you recommend this to somebody?
Well, it's definitely a heartfelt story. I mean, there's my wife watched it with me, and she's not the biggest Adam Sandler fan, and she's not someone who's sitting down watching sports on a regular basis. And she sat down to sit there for 10 minutes, and next thing we knew, she was there for the whole movie.
Good.
It's just a movie that I think is going to grab a lot of different people for all different reasons. The sports fan in me really enjoyed a lot of the sports stuff with it, and some of the emotional ties and pulls that they make within the film register with other people, and there's just a lot of different things for a lot of different people within it.
It seems riddled with cliches.
Sure.
But I think its strength is that it overcomes those and makes you feel as if this is a fresh story, even though my gosh, anybody sitting out there could know what the arc of this story is.
Yeah, for sure. It was, I don't know if you remember a movie from my childhood that was a very similar, I kept thinking about, was The Air Up There, which was a Kevin Bacon movie.
Really?
He goes to Africa and ends up finding a random
a
random guy there that he brings over to be in the NBA, and so definitely some similarities within that. You're right. There's a ton of different, like I said, those tropes with the father that I was thinking about, like Road to Perdition and Gladiator, where you have the very powerful father, but then his son is a bit of like someone that upsets him and stuff, and he has the other guy that is by his side that's kind of his real son,
Yes.
And that's going on here. I think that is in tons of movies, and I'm always a sucker for it.
And don't you think, in Meyerowitz, in his segment in Meyerowitz, he's playing, Dad who was played by Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Dad,
forgot about that, yeah.
right? And
That's a
poor,
note.
poor Sandler's character. He's just lost as far
Yeah.
as Dad's an artist. Sandler, I
Mhm.
forget what he's doing.
Right.
He hasn't worked in a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but boy, and just the scene, George, I remember in Myra was when he's trying to park the car and he's with his daughter in the car. It's a great scene. It's every man who's ever tried to park in a spot that's not going to work.
Yeah.
and he just carries it off.
Uh-huh.
He carries off the common man, maybe as well as Tom Hanks does.
He really does have a lot of that in him. You're right. That's why it's great to see him in some of these restrained performances, because you can tell he has some of that build up angst and frustration
Yes,
that
he
every
does.
man
He
does.
does, yes.
But he knows that he's in these roles, he knows he's a dad. He knows he has to be, some sort of a role model, and tries to keep it contained. But yeah, it's fun to see him be a mentor, and he
Yes.
plays that off well.
Yeah, and there's rarely a scene in Hustle where he's going over the top, as he might
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
this movie had plenty of opportunities.
Yeah,
for that,
right.
For sure, especially as when you're training someone in the NBA, and when you're training professional athletes, it gets intense. And some of the montages in this are, I know, again, my wife was like, "What in the world?" Like, it gets intense, and that's how it is these days with it, the athleticism within that. And he still is restrained and doing the right thing.
One of the things that this shows me is how difficult it is to break into that world.
Yeah.
And if you go, like, he gets a chance to show his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't do it all right, you're out. You make a mistake, man, and I can't believe how
Well,
cutthroat.
that's one of those interesting things, like, that I was, I think the movie in general, and I by no means was a professional athlete, but follow the sport closely. It's one
Yes.
of the NBA has been my favorite for a long time, and if you're really good, they're bypassing things. like they make quite a big stink about his, arrest from years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
And it was like, let's,
they're
they're really
right,
good.
right.
They're not freaking out over that, but
Or
then they build on it, and it works fine. Like, it's not bad, but it's and when you have that many, it's always a good thing, too. It feels like when you have as many NBA people as are in that movie, and there's a ton, it lends authenticity. It makes it feel a lot more authentic, because these people are, like, you're assuming they're not going to want to be in something that's totally trivializing what they do.
All right, Jordan Hanalami, we are out of time.
Yeah.
But what do people have to, for those who are just enraptured by what we say,
Yes.
they can go
So everyone.
to Double Take,
Yes.
our podcast.
Hear more.